Good morning, boys and girls. Before we read our story, I want to go over the vocabulary that is going to be talked about this week. The first is exhausted, which means tired. Intruder, this is someone who does not belong. Okay, they often come into a place that they're not supposed to be. A bond is a close relationship. Enclosure is a fenced-in area. Charged means, in this case, to run towards or run forward at something or someone. Inseparable is very close, to not be separated. Chief is most important. Companion is a person to spend time with. Suffered is when you feel or the feelings of pain. And affection means fondness or really liking something. This week we will be reading Owen and Mzee, The True Story of a Remarkable Friendship by Isabel Hatkoff, Craig Hatkoff, and Dr. Pamela Kumbu. The essential question for this week is, how can animal behavior be like human behavior? This story began in Malindi, Kenya, on the east coast of Africa in December 2004. A pod of hippopotamuses was grazing along the shore of the Indian Ocean. Suddenly, giant, surging waves from a tsunami rushed high onto the beach. The powerful waves caused destruction for miles around. After the water went down, only one hippo remained, and it was stranded on a reef. Hundreds of villagers worked for hours to rescue the 600-pound baby. Finally, a man named Owen caught the animal, which was later named after him. The rescuers wrapped the hippo in a net and placed him in a pickup truck. People weren't sure where Owen should be taken next. They called Holler Park, an animal sanctuary about 50 miles away near the city of Mombasa. Dr. Paula Kumbu, the manager, immediately offered Owen a place to live there. She explained that he could never be returned to the wild. Since he was still a baby, he wouldn't have learned yet how to fend for himself, and he would never be welcomed into another hippopod. He would be seen as an intruder and attacked, but they would take good care of him in Holler Park. Dr. Paula offered to drive to Malindi herself to bring Owen to his new home. Below you will see a map of Kenya, which is in Africa. Dr. Paula knew she would need help. She asked the chief animal caretaker, Stephen Tui, to come along with her. She knew that Stephen had a special way with animals. Some people said he could even talk to them. Dr. Paula and Stephen quickly set off in her small truck to Malindi. Meanwhile, ecologist Sabine Bear got to work with others at Holler Park to prepare for Owen's arrival. When Dr. Paula and Stephen arrived in Malindi, they helped to remove the nets and lead Owen out of the pickup. But Owen became angrier than ever and charged with the people gathered around. They tried to help him calm down by wrapping a blanket around his head. That way he wouldn't see the things that were upsetting him. But Owen was angry about that too. After many hours, about a dozen rescuers managed to move Owen from the pickup into Dr. Paula's truck, tying him so that he would be safe during the long drive to Holler Park. Dr. Paula, Stephen, and Sabine were eager to help the orphaned hippo. Meanwhile, Sabine and other workers prepared a large enclosure for Owen. They chose a part of the park that had a pond and a mud wallow, as well as tall trees and brush, everything a hippo could want. The area was already home to a number of bush bucks, vervet monkeys, and a giant Aldabra tortoise called Mzee. Mzee, whose name means wise old man in the Swahili language, was the oldest creature in the park. At about 130 years of age, he had been alive since before Stephen's great-grandmother was born. He wasn't very friendly, except to Stephen, who seemed to know just what he liked, such as getting tickled under the chin. Otherwise, Mzee kept to himself. No one could have guessed how Mzee's life was about to change. Stephen tickles Mzee. Finally, Dr. Paula and Stephen arrived with Owen, who was now weak and exhausted. As soon as the ropes that held him were untied, Owen scrambled from the truck directly to Mzee, resting in a corner of the enclosure. Owen crouched behind Mzee the way baby hippos often hide behind their mothers for protection. At first, Mzee wasn't happy about this intention. He hissed at Owen and crawled away, but Owen, who could easily keep up with the old tortoise, did not give up. Slowly, as the night went on, Mzee began to accept his new companion. When the park workers checked on them in the morning, Owen was snuggled up against Mzee, and Mzee didn't seem to mind at all. At first, Mzee crawled away, but Owen wouldn't give up. Over the next few days, Mzee continued to crawl away, and Owen continued to follow him. But sometimes it was Owen who would walk away from Mzee, and Mzee would follow. Bit by bit, Mzee grew friendlier. At first, Owen wouldn't eat any of the leaves left out for him. Steve and the other caretakers were worried that he would weaken even more. Then they noticed Owen feeding right beside Mzee as if Mzee were showing him how to eat. Or perhaps it was Mzee's protective presence that helped Owen feel calm enough to eat. No one will ever know, but it was clear that the bond between Owen and Mzee was helping the baby hippo to recover from being separated from his mother and stranded in the sea. With Mzee by his side, Owen began to eat. As the weeks went on, Owen and Mzee spent more and more time together. Soon they were inseparable. Their bond remains very strong to this day. They swim together, eat together, drink together, and sleep next to each other. They rub noses. Owen leads the way to different parts of the enclosure, then Mzee leads the way. Owen playfully nuzzles Mzee's neck, and Mzee stretches his neck forward, asking for more, just as he does when Stephen tickles him under the chin. Though both animals could easily injure each other, they are gentle with one another. A sense of trust has grown between them. Both hippos and tortoises love the water. Wildlife experts are still puzzled about how this unlikely friendship came to be. Most have never heard of a mammal such as Owen and a reptile such as Mzee forming such a strong bond. Perhaps for Owen, it happened this way. Young hippos like Owen need their mothers in order to survive. An old slow tortoise like Mzee can never protect Owen the way a fierce mother hippo could. But since Mzee's coloring and rounded shape are similar to a hippo's, it's possible that to Owen, Mzee looks like the hippo mother he needs. Harder to explain is this affection that Mzee seems to show for Owen. Like most Aldebaran tortoises, Mzee has always preferred to be alone. But sometimes these tortoises live in groups, and perhaps Mzee sees Owen as a fellow tortoise, the first tortoise he is willing to spend time with. Or perhaps Mzee knows that Owen isn't a tortoise, but likes him anyway. Owen nuzzles Mzee's ticklish neck. The reasons are unclear, but science can't always explain what the heart always knows. Our most important friends are sometimes those we least expected. News of Owen and Mzee's friendship quickly spread around the world. People all over have come to love Owen, who endured so much yet never gave up, and Mzee, who became Owen's friend when he needed one most. Their photographs have appeared in countless newspapers and magazine articles, television programs, even a film documentary have been made about them. Visitors come to Holler Park every day to meet the famous friends. Owen and Mzee look out for each other. Owen's future is bright. Owen suffered a great loss, but with the help of many caring people and through his own extraordinary resilience, Owen has begun a new, happy life. Most remarkable is the role that Mzee has played. We'll never know for sure whether Owen sees Mzee as a mother, a father, or a very good friend, but it really doesn't matter. What matters is that Owen isn't alone, and neither is Mzee. And that is the true story of Owen and Mzee, two great friends.